Guys, this is Language Arts for Tuesday, April 28th. All right, let's go over what is due today. Poem 3 times out loud. Penmanship is page 245. So in the penmanship book, there's a whole bunch of journal pages, and so we had to skip over them. So now we're in the 200s. Grammar, we have a video lesson today, and then you have homework. Editor-in-Chief is page 59, number 36. Your morning writing prompt is this summer I hope to, and I want to hear about something exciting that you dream big. Like, what would you love to do this summer? What would be amazing? Math, whatever. For me, it's a video and and an assignment. Make sure your corrections are being turned in before your assignments. Remember, they're always turned in first. Vocabulary word. History, your questions are due today. You need to do your questions or your paragraph summary today. That's your work for today. And then spelling is 13 through 24 3 times. And you need to finish reading chapters 1 through 5 for Maniac McGee. Do not read ahead, okay? You read the chapters that I've assigned, do not read ahead. All right, let's do our poem. Pull out your steno or your copy and say it along with me so you can practice saying the words how I'm saying them. All right, Bleezer's Ice Cream by Jack Prelutsky. I am Ebenezer Bleezer. I run Bleezer's Ice Cream Store. There are flavors in my freezer you have never seen before. 28 divine creations, too delicious to resist. Why not do yourself a favor? Try the flavors on my list. Coca Mocha Macaroni, Tapioca Smoked Bologna, Checkerberry Cheddar Chew, Chicken Cherry Honeydew, Tutti Frutti Stewed Tomato, Lobster Lychee, Tuna Taco Baked Potato, Lobster Lychee Lima Bean, Mozzarella Mangosteen, Almond Ham Meringue Salami, Yam Anchovy Prune Pastrami, Sassafras Sovalki Hash, Sukiyaki Succotash, Butter Brickle, Pepper Pickle, Pomegranate Pumpernickel, Peach Pimento Pizza Plum, Peanut Pumpkin Bubblegum, Broccoli Banana Bluster, Chocolate Chop Suey Cluster, Avocado Brussels Sprout, Periwinkle Sauerkraut. So you notice that there's a little change in the rhythm for Broccoli Banana Bluster, Chocolate Chop Suey Cluster. And then it goes back to our Avocado Brussels Sprout, Periwinkle Sauerkraut. Has kind of the same rhythm except for those two. All right, today's vocabulary word is the word procrastinate. Kind of feel like this is a word everyone has heard, and it is a verb. It's something you do. It's an action without being action. It's like an inaction word. Okay, put off things that should be done until later, defer or postpone. The sentence is, most of the picnickers took cover when rain seemed imminent. Remember our other word, imminent. The few that procrastinated got drenched. So they put it off things that should be done until later. Procrastinate. I hope none of you are procrastinating your book reports. I expect splendid book reports. All right, for grammar today, it is page 172, exercise 1. So using modifiers correctly. So we're jumping some pages. Okay, so we have different adjectives, modifiers, okay. All right, and this is kind of fun, so let's listen. If you had a peanut butter sandwich for lunch on Monday, a hamburger on Tuesday, and roast chicken on Wednesday, you might say, Monday's lunch was good, Tuesday's lunch was better, and Wednesday's lunch was best of all. In comparing the meals, you use different forms of the adjective good. Okay, so we used good, better, best, and those are all forms of the word, the adjective good. Each of the forms expresses a slightly different meaning. The contrast expressed by these different forms is called a comparison, right? You can have big, bigger, biggest, small, smaller, smallest. So you're comparing things. Comparison of adjectives and adverbs. The 3 degrees of comparison of modifiers are positive, comparative, and superlative. Okay, so positive would be your base word. Okay, listen. San Francisco is a large city. So the word large, okay? And then we have comparative. So we're going to compare large to something else. So San Francisco is a large city. Chicago is larger than San Francisco. So I'm comparing 2 things, right? So the first one I'm just stating San Francisco is large. The second one, I'm comparing two cities. Chicago is larger than San Francisco. Superlative means, like, think of the word super or above, right? Super in Latin means over, above. So if you're going above that, New York is the largest of all three. So do you see what we have there? Large, larger, largest. The positive degree is used only when one thing is being described. So the first word we talked about, large, it's when only one thing is being described. The suitcase is heavy. The old statue stood in the garden. Louis began the job cheerfully. Bernice wrote fast when she came to the last question. So those are just one thing. The comparative degree, comparative degree is used when two things are being compared. So this is a way to remember what you're doing. Positive is when there's just one thing being described. Comparative is when you're comparing two things, such as, my suitcase is heavier than yours. That statue is older than my grandmother. So instead of saying it was an old statue, it's comparing it to the grandmother. She began to talk more cheerfully about her plans. So remember, Louis began the job cheerfully. She began to talk more cheerfully. So some words you will add a modifier that tells to what extent more cheerfully. Bernice wrote fast. That was our positive. Hank wrote faster. Okay, that's our comparative. Now, in this sentence, Hank wrote faster. It doesn't say he wrote faster than Bernice, but he wrote faster. So we know that that's comparing to the sentence we read earlier, which was Bernice. Okay, the superlative degree is used when three or more things are being compared. Sylvia's suitcase is the heaviest of all. It is the oldest statue I have ever seen. Of all the girls, Debbie accepted the situation most cheerfully. So we had cheerfully, more cheerfully, most cheerfully. Donald wrote the fastest of all. The superlative is often used for emphasis when it clearly refers to one of two. Put your best foot forward. However, in writing, you will do well to observe rule number 3, meaning that it's comparing three things. Study the comparison of the following adjectives and adverb. Positive, happy. Comparative, happier. Superlative, happiest. Positive, short. Comparative, shorter. Superlative, shortest. Positive, anxious. Comparative, more anxious. Superlative, most anxious. Positive, slowly. Comparative, more slowly. Superlative, most slowly. You will observe that there are two ways of forming comparative and superlative. To form the comparative ending, ER may be added to the end of the word itself, such as happy becomes happier. Okay, or another way is to add the word more. To form the superlative degree, the ending EST is added to the end of the word, or most. So you're either adding ER for comparative or EST for superlative, or you are adding more or most. There are two regular methods of changing. These are the two regular methods of changing. The rules telling you which method you need to be using are complicated and difficult to remember. Most of the time you can just tell by reading what sounds the best. You can hear that more quick sounds wrong, therefore you would say quicker or more quickly. Your ear tells you excitingest, this is the most excitingest day ever, is incorrect. You would say most exciting. When you're in doubt about the correct comparative or superlative form, look the word up in a dictionary. Pretty much, it's not going to give us rules, or ask for help. Okay, the comparative and superlative degrees of a few words are formed in irregular ways. You should memorize these ones. Okay, so some of them change, such as good, better, best. We don't have good, gooder, goodest. It's good, better, best. Well, better, best. Bad, worse, worst. So those are ones that you will just have to memorize. Okay, so today's assignment, it begins on page 172, but goes to 173. It says, write the numbers 1 through 10 on your paper. After each number, write the form of the italicized adjective or adverb that will correctly fill the blank in the sentence. If you're in doubt, you may go back to the pages we just discussed. Okay, so this one has an example, so this does not come out of your homework. So for your homework today, you'll have 1 through 10. Here's an example. Okay, So number 1 has the word italicized good. I'm just going to put that in print so it looks different than the rest. Okay, and then it will have a sentence. This is the blank show I have ever seen. Okay, and then we have to fill in the blank. So the word is good, so it will be one of the forms of good, which we just learned right above it, are good, better, best. So this is the blank show I have ever seen. Okay, so out of all the shows you've ever seen, this one is the what? It is the best. So you would write number 1 and best because you're comparing all the shows you've ever seen. So that's more than 2 shows. So best. And that is what you're doing today. So you're taking and figuring out, you look at the italicized word and writing the correct form. You do not need to write the whole sentence.